Someone's got to explain this line to me. What is going on? Remember, all these favorites are covered in the last 2 weeks like crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Fezzik, kind enough to join us in studio, as always on Fridays. He's the only back-to-back winner of the Hilton Super Contest, and he's looking sharp. How you doing, man?
Accolades to my wife for dressing me. You know, that certainly
Shout
helps.
out, Miss Fezzik.
Missed the Megapod. Haven't listened to it yet. I hear the Wishnev interruptions are down. So if you've been tracking the historic interruptions and you wagered as such, you're a loser this Megapod.
You are a loser. Before we talk football, which is what you're ostensibly here for, you have a baseball. You want to make a baseball macro statement that I believe you and I might disagree on a little. What is it?
Very good. So I do feel like the Super Bowls, the World Series, you can have situations where there's really good wagers to be made, especially if you have a public team against a non-public team fading the public. But in a case like this, Yankees, Dodgers, and I'm a guy that's just been, I've had 3 great baseball seasons in a row. Shout out, I'm the great aggregator. So the base winner, I get his stuff. He's just been tremendous. And that's a big reason is I get other people who are really good at this, and I aggregate their information.
Okay.
All right.
So as long as you're giving credit, it's a wonderful thing.
Famously, I used to. Gill was one of the guys that I would get his plays years ago, and was part of the great aggregation.
Yes.
Having said all that, I think this is what's wrong with. It's like Jerry Maguire, the movie. It's like this is what's wrong with the industry. Is like if you're a baseball expert and you ask a baseball expert, who do you like in the World Series? It is a very uncool answer to say, I don't like anybody. The number's right. But that, I really feel emphatically, is the case here. So you've got people, Spreadopedia telling you it's going to be a sweep, and you got, base winners saying, hey, the Yankees are every bit as good. I make it 49%, 51%. The truth is, you know what? There's probably a better opportunity to wager on like a Utah State college football game than to wager on this World Series.
I don't disagree with you when you're talking about it game by game, which is why I don't have a bet in game one. I don't know if I'll have a pre-flop bet in any of the games. I don't know. But as a to use your word, as an aggregate, right, as the series as a whole, right, I got minus 124 on the Dodgers. It's minus 135. So I did get the best of it. I feel like that's a justifiable wager, right? I feel like if you do it in the aggregate like that, where your handicap has time to manifest, or at least more time to manifest. Series are still small sample sizes, don't get me wrong, right? But the ultimate small sample size is one game alone, so your point is taken on that.
You know, it's fascinating. I got to address this. I'm not sure you got the best of it. You may have. All
Maybe.
Right? Because you're beating the closing number.
Yeah.
All right. Well, assume nothing changes in the next 8 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but beating the closing number is not sufficient to winning in the long run. You have to beat the no-vig closing number. So right now at Circa, they have minus 129 on the series price on the Dodgers, plus 118 on the Yankees. So if I average those, I'm at what? I'm at minus 124.5, plus 124.5. So you are beating the closer. You're doing it, but not by 6 cents, but by half a cent.
Yeah. You understand my general point, though.
I do. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But it's listen, I said it about the election earlier. I said about the election, which is I think anybody who says with any certainty what the line ought to be is fooling themselves, especially with an electoral college where it's a winner-take-all per state, right? That's the hardest thing to handicap because 1% gets you all the marbles, if you will.
Absolutely right. So like when Trump won in 2016, just looking at the popular vote, this is fascinating. He lost the popular vote by 2%. And then he lost it by like 4% in 2020. And like my feeling is like I think the popular vote, the money is pouring in on Trump. All right. I've got no dog in the fight politically. It's all about betting. But I'm like, how is he going to win the popular vote when he won fairly? I mean, in 2016, everything went right, and he still lost by over 2%. I think, wait, there's no hurry. At post, I think you got to bet the Dems on the popular vote.
Yeah, you were saying you thought the Dems popular vote and Trump to win election might be the best bet. That parlay,
an anti-correlated parlay, a very rare anti-correlated parlay because I think both. Obviously, they're anti-correlated, but both I think are likely right at this point in time. But when I say likely, it's more than 50%.
But to your initial point, I believe that, again, and you said it for the World Series, I'll say for the election, there are some things that we just don't know, right? Like, and Absolutely. It's okay to say, right? It's okay to not have a bet in Game 1 of the World Series.
Yes.
Based on the ratio. Like, it's okay to do that. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to play it. All right, let's go to, I want to get to restaurants later because you want to do a restaurant experience thing. So let's get to the NFL. You want to start with this week before we get to look at?
Yeah, and I'm landing on your Washington football team. Someone's got to explain this line to me. What is going on? The Bears. Who are the Bears? They're laying 3 now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get Washington +3, laying $1.10. Shop around at some of the local books here.
Well, you know what the explanation is, obviously, right?
Well, obviously Daniels being out, and that's a huge drop up. But I don't have as a huge drop up. I mean, I got Daniels rated pretty high, but I mean, I got better than an average quarterback now. He's a rookie quarterback, but with a very capable backup. I've got a 3-point downgrade.
Is he very capable? I mean, he was against the Panthers. I just don't know.
I am at -2. All right, so -2.
Okay.
What
do you have Daniels at?
I would have Daniels +1.
You only have Daniels +1.
Yeah, my quarterback rate. I mean, you can't possibly. Well, you could, but like I've got Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff 1.5 points better than an average starting quarterback. An average starting quarterback is very capable.
Okay.
Rodgers, Geno Smith. Those are my zeros.
What's your Jared Goff? What's Jared Goff number?
Jared Goff would be slightly. He's 1.5 points better than an average quarterback. Mahomes is God. He's 4.5. Better.
Oh, okay. So that's not. So then +1 on Daniels is that makes.
I mean,
sense.
that's really.
Okay.
I mean, that means he's a borderline top 10 quarterback in the league.
Okay.
Yes.
Without that context, I didn't really get what +1.
Right.
Was. Okay. So you just think that's too many points? Then.
Yeah, my power ratings had this game close to pick 'em. This is so rare. By the way, I put out my power ratings at Fezzik Sports each and every week. There's a character, Sam Hoppen, that aggregates all of the power rating and ranks us in terms of our performance. It's kind of like compared to Neflo and
who else is in there?
The Peabody Massey ratings,
Massey
Peabody, and Kevin Cole. And just
he rates your power rankings.
How their performance. He rates
based
them
on performance afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. How are you faring?
I'm 3rd
out of
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's number 1?
I think
you care to give them a shout.
I don't want to say because I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
It's Sam Hoppen is the fellow that puts it together.
Yes, we tracked him down last time. Okay, so you like Washington +3. I hope it happens.
And this is what I love about this too. Sometimes when you have a line that's different than what you make it, you're like, maybe I'm missing something. All right, but you nailed it. I know what's going on here. People are like the recreational bettors. And remember, all these favorites are covered in the last 2 weeks like crazy. So the public has all this money and they're like, oh, Washington's down their stud quarterback. We're going to bet against them.
Yeah. Built in, as they say. It's, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right about that game. I am not as convinced about Marcus Mariota's long-term success, right? Can he win a football game? Sure.
And he looked extremely capable last week. They didn't miss a beat. Obviously that's one data point.
We'll get Steve's look-aheads to week number 9. That's been a staple of his appearances. And Steve ranks the top 5 restaurant experiences here in Las Vegas. Keyword experiences. Coming back on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Do you bet college basketball? I don't think of you as a college basketball guy.
I bet everything. Hey, shout out to Greg Peterson. What a class guy. I one time said something that was Voldemort Fezzik on Twitter, I think, said something that wasn't so favorable. And I was having a bad time a few years back.
Not you.
Greg took time out to send a private message to me. And that meant a lot to me, and he obviously does a great job with the hoops. So, Greg Peterson, get him on speed dial. We got basketball games.
Wait a minute, I want to rewind on that. Did you say something mean about Greg Peterson, and then he DM'd you afterwards?
I said something. Well, mean, so subjective. Something like
we know how you are.
Unflattering
to him about him
on Twitter.
About him.
I was just.
How dare you?
Hey, I'm a Dumbo. I'm a Dumbo all the time.
But look how he handled it, right?
And like months later, boom, nicest guy in the world.
Of course he is.
That's the type of guy you want to partner with.
Do you feel the emotion of shame ever? Does that cause you to not do that again? No, it doesn't.
I should, but
Steve Fezzik, half man, half robot. Everybody. Okay. Let me try to give you a little shame here. That's actually not shame, but I want to go. So you've come on here and you give your look ahead to the upcoming week, and so it's been an interesting history here. Let's talk about the Steelers and the Jets.
Epic failure on closing line value. Epic epic failure. And I'm gonna say I was wrong on that. So I gave out Steelers -1 when they were favored.
Yeah,
they closed +2.5.
Not only that, but during the game, I can remember receiving a text from Steve Fezzik going, "Oh my God, I am such an idiot. Oh my God."
Well, because I should have thought this out and said, the Devontae Adams trade actually had a real tangible chance of happening.
Yeah.
As did the quarterback change, where we were all concerned that Russell Wilson, and I was concerned, was a downgrade. And then famously, it's almost like in Heaven Can Wait, the movie. You ever see Heaven Can Wait?
I have not, but I'm familiar.
They're very negative about Mr. Farnsworth becoming their quarterback. All right, he's taking over. He buys the team and he becomes the quarterback. And everyone's like super, super negative. And they start spinning the ball. And they look at each other and say, looks like we got ourselves a rich quarterback.
Exactly what happened in that Pittsburgh game.
Yes.
By the end, you were a genius. Yes. The other one, though, is, and this hasn't happened yet, but the total in this Falcons-Buccaneers game, what do you have to say for yourself?
48.
Yeah.
You know what? Unpredictable contingent events. And this is the danger of betting a week early or even games of the year early, because more often than not, it should work and you should get the closing line value. And then what's this? Evans goes down. And then, for some reason, Tampa's down 30. They're trying to win. Get the ball to Godwin.
It's brutal.
Oh, dear.
Well, they weren't down 30, to be fair. But, yes, their chances of winning were. Yeah.
Yes. And so, and kudos to them for playing hard the whole way. But unfortunately, now both.
They were the ones who recovered the onside kick.
Yes.
Now it jogs
both
my
the
memory.
wide receivers are donezo for this, and that's a 3-point downgrade to their offense. So that over 48. Don't be looking at prior shows and say Fez loved over 48. Now he can get over 46. That's a great bet. No, it isn't.
Things happen in between.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, for week 9, so not this week, but next week, you have three different plays you like.
Yes, and this is not unusual that I'm going to like more games week 9 than week 8. Why? Because the limits on these games are so much lower than they are, that the market has not reached a point of equilibrium yet, and it's not unusual. My power ratings point me in the direction of several plays. So, boom, let's do them. First one, normally I do set up and go. I'm just going to give them to you here. So we're Chargers -3 at Cleveland. I make this line 5 on the LA Chargers. So now the Chargers actually opened to do a comp here. They opened -3 at Arizona. Now that line did come down to Chargers like -1.5. But think about it. Arizona is way, way, way better than Cleveland. They're not in the same area code. So value with the Chargers -3.
The change to Jameis doesn't dissuade you?
It does dissuade me. Jameis is a 2-point upgrade, but even with that upgrade in my power ratings, I still have the line at 5.
Okay.
So if I make it 5, I'm laying 3. Same thing with this New England Tennessee. It's ludicrous. You would never ever lay 3 with the Tennessee Titans, but the Tennessee Titans are not just better than New England. New England is like the worst. It is the worst team in the NFL, and Tennessee. Where did I got? Like number 20, 27. I mean, but by power ratings wise, I have Tennessee laying 5.
That's a game. That's my deep dive analysis of that game.
Must viewing. Yeah. And finally, and this is very this is a lesson you can take home. So the Rams are at the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are a little bit better than the Rams, all right? And Seattle was laying 3. But now, you know what? They're not a little bit better no more. Because we had all these questions about the Rams. Is Kupp going to play? Is Puka going to play? Are they going to be any good? Puka looked pretty darn good out there.
Puka's great.
So 3 hours before that game started on Thursday, Seattle was better than the Rams. When that game ended, the Rams are better than Seattle. So you need to make a significant line change here, and it wasn't done. So Rams +3 at Seattle. That's a go.
All right, Chargers. Like you said, that's a go in RAS style. Chargers at the Browns. Titans, you're on -3 versus the Patriots. Rams +3 at the Seahawks for week number 9. Okay, now in the final few minutes, this is what everybody's been waiting for. Your top. We noticed that you used the very specific diction here. The top 5 restaurant experiences in Las Vegas. That was intentional, yes?
I will die on this hill here where, we talk about the best baseball stadiums. And Dodger Stadium, even though it's a cathedral, can never make top 5 best experiences because you have to drive through traffic to Chavez Ravine and drive home, as opposed to going to the game at San Diego and going to the Gaslamp.
Gotcha. Okay.
District, and just having so much going for, like, in San Francisco. Same thing with restaurants. You want to be in a really great ambiance. And the Wynn is my favorite hotel casino in Vegas, so it's not surprising. I've got 2 of them at the Win.
Are we doing this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or these are
no,
5
these
and
are
no
these
order?
are all
Okay.
put them in any order. So the Win buffet is excellent. It may not, if you're a carnivore, you might prefer going to Caesars, but at the Bacchanal, but overall experience, it's just so uplifting to be walking through the Win and seeing all of that.
It feels like the Wynn buffet is a little healthier than most buffets, too.
It is. Absolutely. They've got great salads.
Yep.
I mean, but they still have decadence if you want it.
Sure.
And just across the board. And I just love that whole experience. And I got to tell you, at the Win, tough ticket, Delilah.
Oh.
The Supper Club at Delilah takes you back to like the late 1920s, live music. If you do have children, you can go before, I think, 8 o'clock. So you can go early. But the food is very good. But I'm not good enough evaluating food for it to matter. It's the experience that really matters.
The food is very good. It's not off the charts good, but you're right. It is I would say it's the single greatest experience in Vegas. You are transported to the 1920s. Don't let them seat you outside. In the summer, they have outdoor seating. Don't let them do that because it's not worth it then. But indoors, it is absolutely spectacular. Delilah's is an LA-based thing, so there's a lot of celebs that end up there. They had a little trouble with that at the beginning, by the way. Like, Delilah's didn't get that if it was like a high roller, you kind of had to give him a table. They're like, I'm sorry, 50 Cent already has that table book. They're like, yeah, he just dropped $1 million in the sports book. You got to give him a table. So there was a little bit of that at the beginning, but Delilah is fantastic.
Yeah, let's go to Fontainebleau.
Okay.
Motherwell, very important. Do not park in the South Park. This will ruin the whole experience. You have to valet at Fontainebleau because if you walk in from Fontainebleau, you'll think, I love this place. If you South Park, you're like, right off the bat. Mother Wolf, best pasta I've ever had. They make it fresh. It's
Really?
Yes, and you feel like, and you feel like it's an experience. You walk in, it's like it was described as like going back and like dining on the Titanic. Maybe a bad example, but I mean, just so cool.
What happened there?
Across the way, you get transported back in time. So Mother Wolf, just fantastic Italian, and the fresh pasta was just incredible.
Then you have
I have Nobu at Caesars.
we
so
love Nobu.
You've been at Nobu, and the beef Wagyu tacos are like the best 2-ounce thing I have ever eaten my entire life. But don't go to the one at Paris. Go to the one at Caesars, and just the whole experience at the bar, the specialty drinks, the ambiance. You see celebrities, and nothing like the yellowtail appetizer. There's food I don't even like yellowtail appetizer, and I love their yellowtail appetizer. Spot on, great across the board.
That's the place where Wishnev, he refuses to eat on the principle that the food is too expensive. He's like, I can't eat this.
Watching him, Joey Chestnut, down those Wagyu tacos was difficult for me.
By the way, we billed this as a top 5. You gave us 4. Is that your way of saying top 5? By 5, you meant 4?
No, there's one more.
Oh,
there's
what's the other
one because these are all country club. Break your budget. I've got one cheapo.
Okay, what's that?
Ellis Island Barbecue. You can
wow.
with your player's card, you can get like a full rack of ribs with chicken, and it is darn good. It is the secret barbecue place. Gill doesn't go out his secret, your secret sushi place, but you will love this place. You can feed a family for like $30 at Ellis Island Barbecue.
Thank you, Steve. Steve Fezzik, everybody. Football and food. How could you beat that?
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now, absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.